Hi guys. So today we are discussing the most common Power BI interview questions and relevant answers to that. So if you are attending any interview, then from these 20 questions, there is a majority chance that at least 8 to 9 questions will be there in your interview. So just listen carefully and see if you are able to answer those questions or not. So first one is data transformations in Power Query. So for this, I have mentioned many here, like removing unnecessary columns, renaming the columns, or if there is any incorrect data type, we can correct it to the correct data type, and we can remove all the unnecessary rows, that is filtering rows, and splitting columns. So if columns are combined, then if you want it to separate to individual columns, we do that usually, so that you can tell. Merging queries, because we need data from multiple tables sometimes, so we have to merge. Otherwise, appending queries, and sometimes missing values will be there or incorrect data will be there, then we will apply replace. So replacing values and creating calculated columns. So in this, whatever you have done in your project, you can mention those. So next question is data sources in Power BI. So common data sources are usually Excel files, SharePoint, CSV files, or SQL Server. Usually SQL Server and Excel files are the most common. But if you have used cloud services or Azure or AWS, any connections, then you can mention those as well. Then moving forward to third question. This is already many times this question is repeated previously also, import mode versus direct query mode. So in import mode, what happens is it is imported and stored in the Power BI desktop itself. So since it is already present in desktop, performance will be more. But since we are storing the data in the at our end in Power BI side, so that file size will be large. That is one disadvantage. And coming to direct query, data is not imported. When you require the data, queries will run on the source and will fetch data. So that is about data storage. And coming to performance, it will be slower because we are running the queries in real time. So it will be slower compared to import mode. But data will be always up to date because we are fetching the data directly from the source. Then it is ideal when the data set is large size. For small size, we use import mode. Okay, moving forward to next question. What is the difference between, or explain what is fact table and explain what is dimension table. So fact tables means it will contain the quantitative data or metrics for analysis. Example, sales amount, profit, quantity, all these things. So whatever metrics or quantitative data is there, that will be present in the fact table. So example, if you have a sales table, then all the columns like sales ID, date ID, product ID, sales amount, all this will be fact table. And using these IDs, using these IDs only, we can connect to the dimension table. And what will dimension table contain? Dimension table contains descriptive attributes, like it will contain product name, customer name, region, etc. So product table with columns like product ID, product name, category. So just understand this way, whatever will give you contextual information and descriptive attributes, whatever will tell you about the dimension, those are the dimension tables. So those are the dimensions. But whatever is connecting between the two tables and whatever it is quantitative data, then that is the fact table. Then moving forward, star schema versus snowflake schema. This is also one of the most repeated question. So you can see that in the star schema, it will be single layered. Dimensions are directly connected to the fact table. Okay, and then it is simple and easy to understand, and also since only few tables will be there, so joins also will be less, so it will perform quicker. So faster query performance with because fewer joins. Also it will require more storage because it will contain denormalized data, so that's why storage will be little more, but still it will be faster because joins will be less. And the use cases, when database data sets is small to medium size, then we can use star schema. Coming to snowflake schema, here also one fact table and multiple dimension tables will be there, but the thing is that dimension tables will be normalized into multiple tables here, and so that it will be comparatively slower than star schema, because here we will have multiple joins since we have many tables. And also dimension tables will again be divided into different tables, different dimension tables further, so that's why we will have multiple joins here. But it will require less storage because of the normalization, because of the normalization we will not have repeated data, so storage will be comparatively less. It is preferred for large complex data sets. Then moving forward, next question is merge versus append. So what happens in merge? when combines two tables based on a matching column or key. So this is very much similar to the join in or SQL. So whenever you want to bring additional columns from another table, then you can use the merge. What is append? So it is similar to the SQL union. So you can stacks data from two or more tables with the same structure. So it is used to combine rows from different sources into single table. Okay. So appending means we will add the rows. Okay. Merge means we will add the columns. Next, implementing a specific use case. So if they are asking you to like explain any one use case where you are using your Power BI, or in your project, if they are asking to explain some use case, you can tell one of the use case which you have used. So here I have mentioned about my one of my finance domain project, and here whatever we have done, we can mention that and just explain 3 to 4 lines. So here I have explained saying that I have done some project and I have imported data from SQL, and you can tell you can name some 3 or 4 measures which you have created and what you have done. So that much you can tell if they're asking to explain any use case. Next question is, what is the use case of the summarize function? So summarize is like group by in SQL. So whenever you want to group on a particular column and want to calculate something, then you can use the summarize function. So here summarize creates a summarized table with group data and aggregated values. So here you can see in this project what we are doing. We used summarize to create a table that grouped sales by product category and region. So here what if you see the use case example, you can see that here we have grouped it based on the product category and region. So now based on the sales and based on the region and product category, the total sales will be calculated. So to group based on a particular column and then calculate, we use this summarize. Next question is, what is the difference between all and all accept? Nowadays, this is also one of the most common question. So what will all do? It will remove all the filters from a table or column. So it will work on the entire table or specific columns. Okay, it depends on what you are performing. So if you mention inside all, if you mention only table name, then all the filters will be removed from the table. If you mention any column name, then only filters applied on that particular column will be removed. Next, moving to all except, it will remove all the filters except for specified columns. Suppose if you mention all except sales of region, then whatever filters are applied on sales of region, that won't be removed, but rest all the filters will be removed. So these two, just try to work it on at your end also. Try to use these functions in your projects or in your like in at your end while practicing. Try to include this so that you can see the result and you'll understand better. Okay, so this is the orally you can tell like this: all will remove all the filters, all except will remove all the filters except for the specified columns. Next question is, what is the need for a date master table? So why we are creating this date table? So whenever you start a Power BI project, we are advised that we have to create a date table. So why you are creating? That is the question. So you can tell that because it will enable some of the time intelligence functions. So if we have date table, then only we can create, we can like see the sale. Suppose it is a sales project. Then if you have date table, then only you can calculate the sales for the last year or last month or current year. And if you want to compare it with last 5 years or 10 years, so then time and date is very important. That's why we have date table. So you can tell that it will enable the use of time intelligence functions, and it will attribute for slicing and filtering. Okay, and also is you can give one use case. So here I mentioned in my project I created a date table with columns for year, quarter, month and day. It was linked to fact table to analyze trends over time, such as monthly sales growth. Okay, so if you find this video useful up to now, just subscribe the channel also, so that it will motivate me to create more such videos. So next, moving forward to 11th question, can you explain the use case of same period last year? Okay, so in this in my project I used it to calculate revenue growth year over year. That is the use case which I have mentioned here. So what happens is, if you take a date this year, suppose this May, what is the sales that you have? And if you want to understand last year May, what was the sales? So at that time, you can use this function, same period last year. So if you have a particular date and if you want to understand what happened during the same period last year, then this DAX function you can use. This helped the business identify how revenues performed compared to the previous year for the same months. Okay. Then moving forward to next question, which Power BI license have you used in your project? This is also nowadays to understand if you have worked properly. I mean, like if you have real experience or not. They are asking practical questions like these nowadays. So which Power BI license have you used in your project? So for this, you can say in my project, you can, whatever license you have used, that you can tell. So here I have mentioned that I have used Power BI Pro license, because using Pro we can share and collaborate, and we can also publish the reports to Power BI service, and we can also schedule refresh. So these are the main things which we do. So all those I have mentioned. Also we can implement row level security as well. So that you can mention. In some cases, Power BI Premium was used by the organization to handle large data sets. So in some projects, when it is very complex, or if the data set is very large, then we require Power BI Premium. But otherwise, we can use the Pro itself. So if you have Pro license, then you can share and collaborate. You can publish the reports to Power BI service. You can implement row level security. So mostly every Power BI developer will usually have Power BI Pro license. So whatever your license is, you can tell that. Then what is the difference between my workspace and workspace? So my workspace is like personal storage. So whatever you do and only you want to see, it will be accessible only to you. You cannot other users cannot see it. So that is the personal storage space. So my workspace is the personal storage space for creating and managing reports or dashboards. It will be accessible only to the individual user. And for we use it for personal projects or testing. So so from here, from my workspace, we cannot share the reports. Okay, that is like a rough workspace where we can create whatever we want. Next, workspace. This is a collaborative workspace. So multiple users can use same workspace. We can collaborate there. We can. It is usually in organizations we use workspace to collaborate. Okay, reports and dashboards. These can be shared with the team members here. So workspace, and this is the difference between workspace and my workspace. So you can tell example, in my project I developed initial versions of reports in my workspace for testing. So first you can do in your workspace, and you can using this my workspace you can create the reports and test it. Later you can publish them to workspace so that you can collaborate with the other team members. Okay, next question is what roles are available in a workspace? This is also very repeated question nowadays. So you have to remember admin, member, contributor, and viewer. These are the four roles available in a workspace. So this admin will have complete control. They can give access, remove access. They can create content, edit content, delete content. They can do everything. So full control. For member, they can create, edit, and delete content, but they cannot do anything with the access. What what contributor can do, they can create and edit content, but they cannot delete the content, and they cannot do anything with the access as well. Coming to viewer, they can only view the reports and dashboards. They cannot do anything with editing or managing access. They cannot do anything of that sort. So remember these four roles. Also they might ask you which role you have. So mostly Power BI developers or data analyst, they usually have member role, or sometimes contributor role also. Just check and tell whatever your role is. So here I have mentioned in my project I was assigned the member role, allowing me to upload and modify reports while the admin managed workspace permissions. Next, moving to next question, charts used in the project. So there are like many charts are there. So whatever you are using, you can just take some charts and you can explain. Here I have mentioned for categorical comparisons, I have used bar and column charts. For trend analysis over time, I have used line charts. And if you want to show the data in proportions, you can use the pie charts or donut charts, whatever. Then if you want to compare the categories across different groups, then you can use the clustered bar chart or column charts. So not only these charts, whatever you have used in your project, whatever you find easy to explain, just take three or four charts and explain. Next one is custom charts. So this is also very frequently asked one. So if you have used any custom charts, so if you say yes, they will ask you to tell what custom charts you have used. So custom charts also, like around 150 custom charts are available. You can check the Microsoft documentation as well. So I have mentioned two or three here. KPI indicator. This one will have goals versus actual performance. So you can view the indicator properly. Then we have hierarchy slicer here, that will help you to do advanced filtering. Similarly, we have bullet chart. It will give detailed performance comparison. So these are some of the custom charts I have mentioned, but there are many other. You can just research and practice two or three and mention those. Okay, next. Next question is filters versus slices. So here, what happens in filters is it will define the data within the report or visual. So it will be automatically applied in the filter pane itself. So users cannot interact with it. Suppose I am developing the report, then I will create the page level filter or report level filter or visual level filter, and I will apply it. That's it. Users cannot do anything with it. So whatever I want to include, I will include, and I will apply the filter and give it to the user. User cannot do anything from their end. But slicers, it is interactive visual and it is used for filtering purpose. So it will be placed directly for users visibility, and what users can do, they can select whatever they want. They can use it to slice and dice data. So whatever they want, they can select from the drop down. So this is the main difference. Users can interact with slicers, but filters will be set by the developer. Okay, next question is bookmarks in Power BI. So this is very important question, and also you have to learn how to implement it also, because scenario based questions will be there on bookmarks. So for orally, if they ask what are bookmarks, you can just tell capture the current state of a report page. It will capture whatever is there on the screen. You can just capture it and place it as a bookmark, so that whenever you want, you can go to that bookmark and see that content. So what happens is captures the current state of a report page, including filter and set slicer settings, or drill throughs and drill downs, or some visuals. Okay. So what happens is you can create a button that will redirect users to different report pages. And it will help to create dynamic reporting. So this is very useful feature, and this is one of the thing which will make your report dynamic. Suppose you want to highlight any visual, or if you want to drill through some content, and using the drill through, if you want to save that particular content, all these things you can do using bookmark. So this is one of the very important feature. Next question is dynamic reports in Power BI. So how your reports can be made dynamic? How do you make your reports dynamic? So to make your reports dynamic, users should be able to interact with the report. So you can give the slicers, and you can create the parameters as well, so that end users will give the input, and based on the input you will get the output. So parameters can be used. Third one is you can use the DAX expressions like selected value or concatenate, so that visual tiles or text, they will be dynamically updated based on the user selection. So whatever users will select, based on that, if data gets changed, so if you give an option to user to select the data and change the data, then itself the report becomes dynamic. So how to give access to user? To give access to user, you can use slices, parameters, or some of the DAX expressions, or you can give what you can use what if parameters. All these you can mention in the risk question. Next question is what is the difference between measures and calculated columns? This everybody must be already knowing this question, because if you are attending a Power BI interview, this question is like it will be there by default. You will get this question. So if you don't know, just check out and learn what is measure and calculated column. So here you can say that measures are used to calculate dynamically, and it will be more efficient because they are calculated only when we are using it in a visual, and this will not be present physically in a table. But whereas coming to calculated column, this is like creating another column only. So and calculations will be done row by row, and the it will increase the size of the model, because here we are physically storing the data. So calculated columns, what it will do, it will add a new column to the data set. It will be calculated for each row, and it will be it's increasing the size of the data model. So it is less efficient compared to measures. Okay, so this is the main difference. If you don't know, please practice all these 20 questions, because if you are attending a Power BI interview, you will get these questions. If you are attending a data analyst interview, you will get these questions for sure. So just make sure to practice it.